to nerd out.
'Cause I'm a punk rocker, yes I am. Well, I'm a punk rocker, yes I am.
Hello, so I wanted to come on here today and talk about a topic that I came across earlier this day here on YouTube first, and then I ended up going to TikTok and looking at it myself. And it's about this "you have to nerd out" trend, where people are posting videos and showcasing their special interests and their hobbies, and they are using this audio that I think originated here on YouTube by another outdoor creator, and he made a video where I think he was talking about how you have to embrace your personality more and your individuality. I haven't specifically seen that video of him, but I've seen the video that people were talking about in my feed. It's being recommended to me, and I probably should watch it, but I've seen other videos of him, so I think this is where he was heading with his video, talking about how we have to embrace our personality again and our individuality. So people took this quote, like I said, and they made this trend with it. And first, I thought the trend was really wholesome and sweet. I really liked the idea of embracing our personality again, because I really think that we need more of that in today's society. So I support that trend. I think it's cute and genuine and very nice. I think we should do more of that. But then I ended up coming across that controversy and a different side of executing that trend, how other people are executing it. And that's where the controversy lays, and this is where people get offended or mad about it. And I actually ended up feeling a little bit offended myself as well. So this is what we're going to talk about today: how this trend has evolved, what it actually means to be a nerd or to be nerdy, and all these type of niche hobbies, and what is actually considered niche and whatnot, and can you be a nerd about something that is not niche? Those are the things we're going to talk about today. So what ended up happening with that trend was that people took that trending audio and they wanted to make videos with it, because the trend grew kind of viral and everyone wanted to hop on the train and have a piece of the cake, right? So people ended up posting videos with that audio, even though they didn't really had any special interests. And then the videos ended up looking like someone posting a selfie and a bunch of brand logos. And the brand logos were not something that you would consider niche or nerdy, but they ended up being stuff like Spotify, Lululemon, Stanley Cups, Labubu dolls, matcha green tea, or what else did I see? Chipotle, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's this American fast food brand. I'm not American, so I don't know how to pronounce it properly, and we don't have that here. But people were posting that. It's like posting McDonald's or posting Burger King. You cannot be a nerd about a food chain, right? That is just consumerism, and this is why people started feeling offended about it and being mad about it. They were saying, "Hey, hang on a minute. This is not nerdy. This is not what it means to be a nerd," right? So this is where the controversy lays, and we're going to talk about that a bit more. I think the reason why people are so mad about it and why it's ruffling so many feathers is not because of the trend itself or people showing what they're interested in, but it's more about the messaging and the fact that some people are trying to redefine what it means to be a nerd. But there's actually history to that term, right? And not cute history. People used to get bullied for being a nerd in school. We were outcasted from society. We were the weird kids. No one wanted to talk to you because you were reading books in your break time, or because you were watching anime or drawing manga or doing some other stuff that people considered to be weird. So being a nerd was never easy. It took a lot of courage to stuck to your hobbies, even though it wasn't socially acceptable. And seeing that being a nerd is now aspirational and trending on social media is kind of like a weird slap into the face, right? Being a nerd was always an invitation for mockery and ridicule, and now people are making it out as if that never happened and everyone can be a nerd about anything, but that's just not the case. Let's be true. Let's be real here, okay? So I'm not saying that you can't be a nerd about popular topics, right? Harry Potter is quite popular, but you can still be a nerd about that. Game of Thrones is popular, you can still be a nerd about Game of Thrones if you've read all the books and you have all the collections and like limited editions and whatever. I guess you can also be a nerd about Lululemon if you know all of the brand lore and the names of the CEOs and how it developed and all that. Sure, but the thing is, and this is where we have to just be honest and like be just be real. Most people don't have that knowledge on these basic topics that they're posting, and this is so obvious to everyone, because how can you be a nerd about Spotify or Lululemon? I don't think you are, because that would mean you have to have all these like infos, all these background infos that no one else has, and I don't think Lululemon is interesting enough to be obsessed about it. You know, I'm sure you can be obsessed about the clothing and have a lot of their clothing, but that is not being a nerd. That is being a consumer and brand loyalty, right? So what I'm trying to say is that most people that are posting this trend now are not really hyper fixating on the things that they are portraying, and that's the difference. You know, it's not about being aesthetically pleasing or showing marketable influencer brands. It's about actually showing the things that you could talk about for hours on end without getting tired. And I don't think you can talk about Lululemon for 5 hours straight. I just don't see that happening. And I just think that most people who are hopping onto this trend, and I'm not alone with that, I think they just don't have that knowledge on that topic, and then they call themselves a nerd, but you don't fit the requirements to be a nerd, right? That's just my impression, because I don't think you can be a nerd about everything. By that logic, if you apply that logic of liking something equals nerd, then I could be a nerd about literally the most boring topics ever. I could be a nerd about liking, I don't know, marmalade and cream cheese on my bread, because not everyone likes that, but I do, so that makes me a nerd. That I mean, I don't know if that's a good example, but I hope you know what I'm trying to say. It's not just about liking something. And I think this opens another interesting question. The question of why does everyone want to be weird all of a sudden? Why is it now aspiring to be a nerd and to be unique and quirky? And I think the answer to that question is that rising cultural phenomena of hyperindividuality. Maybe you heard of that term before. It's when someone is feeling that urge of expressing how unique they are and being more unique and different from everyone else. So they are extremely expressing some sort of individuality, and oftentimes, I'm not saying every time, but oftentimes that individuality is performative and made up to fit into some sort of narrative. So that's that. And we live in an age where everyone now feels the need to express their uniqueness. But because they're all pulling from the same pool of safe, mass-approved quirks and like trending individual traits, something that is considered cool but quirky, and they're all pulling from the same pool, and that's how they end up looking exactly alike again, right? It completely eliminates the individuality when everyone is quirky in the same way. So it's basically main character syndrome meeting influencer branding, and you're only quirky within the lines of what the algorithm says is allowed. But the thing is, though, that this individuality is still only accepted on social media. The reality still looks different, and a great example of that is a video that I saw from this TikTok creator. Her name is Tallulah Rose, and she's really sweet. She's a very nice girl, and she got popular on TikTok because she was posting about her Nomi dolls. She started collecting them, and Nomis are basically like Labubus. they're plushy bag charms, accessories, but the difference is that nommies are, in my opinion, actually cute and I don't know, a nice collectible. I actually bought one myself because of her, and they're like in contrast to those nommies. And she got so much attention at first because she was hating on Labubus, and she said they're so fucking ugly and why are people buying that. And then she introduced that alternative, or she found out about that alternative with the nommies, and then she started collecting those. So those are the videos that she did, and she has now actually quite a huge collection of nommies that I'm very jealous of. And she's really proud of them. She really likes her nommy dolls, and she openly says that she is on the spectrum and probably, I don't know, hyperfixating on those nommy dolls. Don't quote me on that, but it's one of her special interests right now. So that's really sweet, that's really cute, and everyone in her community likes that, right? They all support her, and everyone is buying nommies now because of her. And then she ended up posting a video one day crying because she went out with her nommies on her doll, with her nommy dolls on her back, and she ended up talking to a group of girls, and they were asking about her dolls, and she was getting really excited and explaining what they are and where she get them, and just really getting into that and explaining her special interest. And then halfway through the conversation, she realizes that these girls weren't actually interested in the dolls. They were actually making fun of her. And so she went home after that and started crying because she realized that she was being bullied again for some of her special interests. So this is just an example of how the contrast is still there. You have the acceptance, the fake acceptance, I'd say, on social media, specifically TikTok, and then you go out into the real world thinking, oh, I can be myself now without being judged by people. And then you end up in a situation like that. So that is very discouraging for some people. Yeah, just something to spread some awareness, you know, on that topic. Because TikTok is full of lies. But I mean, Tallulah is fine now though. Don't worry about her. Everyone on TikTok told her that she shouldn't listen to these mean girls and that her nommies are cute, because they really are. So, and maybe another note on that is that she posted that video and she went out with her nommy dolls during the Labubu hype. I mean, the hype is still there at the time of me recording this video, and she posted this, her video, I don't know, a few weeks ago. So that was literally the peak of the Labubu hype. And then she goes out with something similar to Labubus. So you would consider people accepting that, because that is literally trending right now on social media. Everyone is crazy about these Labubus. And she goes out with that and she still gets bullied about it. So this is really weird, you know. This is why is she getting bullied about it? I'm sure these girls that were talking to her have TikTok. I don't think anyone doesn't have TikTok in these times, or doesn't know about it at least, you know. And I think this just proves my point again of what I said earlier, that you can nerd out about things apparently now, but don't go too niche, don't go too nerdy, because then it's cringe again, then it's embarrassing again, you know. And being too genuine or too visibly different, then you're back to being the weird one. It's really ironic, and this is why people are upset about the trend. That's the main problem of it. Yeah, so social media makes subcultures like goth, Lolita or anime look romantic online, but once you go offline, once you go into the real world, people still stare at you. You're still the odd one out. And that's the reality that we forget when these trends sanitize those identities. They look cool and cute in a curated feed, but in real life, acceptance hasn't caught up yet. I've actually seen two different camps of opinions under these type of videos. Some people are saying, like when I'm saying these type of videos, I'm referring to the basic version of that trend, right? So the one that people are upset about because it's not nerdy enough. And then you have these people in the comments saying, you're not nerdy enough, you don't count, you are not one of us. That's one side of the medal. And then the other people are saying anyone can be a nerd, You can nerd out about anything, and we shouldn't exclude anyone just because their hobby or their interest isn't niche enough. So these are the two camps that we have, and I actually think that both of these extremes are missing the actual point of the discussion. Yes, I think we should preserve the meaning of the term nerd because that is actually rooted in history and real life experiences and exclusion that people went through. And I don't think we should attempt to redefine or delete that history of that term, because that would just deny what happened, right? And we don't want that. But on the other hand, no, I don't think we should be shaming and bullying people for not being niche enough under those trends, because that is just repeating the same cruelty that we went through. And I don't think we should repeat that circle again, because that way we're not actually better than our bullies. I think we can respectfully educate people about the misuse of that term nerd under those trends, and point out why people are offended about it without turning into bullies ourselves, because that way we're just becoming what we hate, and we don't need to be gatekeepers of special interests and attack strangers on the internet to defend our nerd culture. I don't think that's the right way. We can all just agree to do it in a respectful way and still be nice to each other. To conclude this video, we can probably all agree that this trend is going to vanish in the next few weeks, and everyone who is now pretending to be quirky and weird and funny, they're all going to return to mocking real special interests and real niche hobbies soon enough. So that's just the reality. That's how all the trends always go. But there's one takeaway message that I want you to take from either my video or from this whole debate in general, and that is very simple. If you have a real special interest, I want you to own up to it and be proud of it. You don't have to water down your personality to fit into an algorithm or to get approval from anyone. And I don't want you to let others make you feel small for the things that you love. Very simple. Just keep that in mind when talking about stuff like that. And for those of you who are hopping onto the trend with basic brand loyalty, sure, have fun, get your likes, get your views. I don't actually care, but maybe consider not claiming the label if you're not living the reality. Thanks for watching.